And welcome back to Little Cuts, our weekly minisode where we go insane. And we also dig into the things that we've been watching and reading. I think that's it recently. I'm Terry. Hi.
I'm
We're
Mary
doing great
Beth.
here.
The energy is already off. It's incredible. I'm Mary Beth. Yeah. And this week we are chatting about how politics are scary in space. An interesting rape revenge story. The weirdest semi-true crime story. Mary Beth shares her wild weekend watches with her family, and then we accidentally...
Cannot wait.
It's a wild fucking weekend. And then we accidentally both read the same book at the same time. I don't know how that happened, but I'm so fucking happy it did.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, real quick. If you're listening to this, it's a Friday. Earlier this week, I'm getting really confused because we're recording this on a Tuesday. The Fresh Wounds episode drops on Wednesday, but this episode is dropping on Friday, so I don't know what tense to use. But basically, if you're listening to this on Friday, the Fresh Wounds episode, our new Fresh Wounds episode, has dropped on Patreon for our Fresh Wounds patrons. We are discussing Inside, absolutely incredible conversation about an absolutely incredible movie that is definitely one of my all-time favorites, and I think it might be one of Terry's too now. So please, really if you want to listen to that, you should become a patron at the Fresh Wounds level. It's a really good convo. It's like a 2-hour podcast episode, so
for a movie
check that out.
Less than that.
Oh yeah. Well, we get lots of context. I read book passages. Y'all, like, it is very well researched.
It really is.
But yes, please go check that out because we put a lot of love into those and they're really fun conversations. And quite smart, if I do say so myself. On that note, politics are scary in space. Politics are scary in general, but like in space,
So I can talk about this one now.
Okay.
It is a Tribeca film called I.S.S, the International Space Station, not in school suspension or anything.
Thank you. I really needed that clarification.
But it is about the International Space Station.
Fuck.
We follow this new astronaut that's going up there, who's queer, by the way.
Oh.
And she's a person of color. Love that. And she is going up into space to go to the space station with, she's new. She's a biologist. She worked in the Marines. And she's going up there with her coworker who has been up there in space at the ISS a couple times, played by John Gallagher Jr.
Oh.
This cast is kind of stacked, I'll be perfectly honest. Ariana DeBose, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I apologize, Ariana. Plays the new astronaut going up into space. And they get up there. The space station, of course, is a cohabitation between Russia and America. And so we meet some of the Russian cosmonauts and some of the American astronauts, one of which is Chris Messina.
Oh, sorry. He's dead, Dave.
He is a dreamboat. I love him. And so they're up there. They're getting introduced. It turns out, like, you start to see kind of the interactions between the crew. It's a very small crew, 3 Russians, 3 Americans. One of the Russian women, who is named Nika, and Chris Messina's character are kind of flirty, and our new recruit is picking this up, and so she's like asking about it, and they're trying to keep it on the down low, but they are definitely canoodling in space. And so we kind of follow them.
In space, no one can hear you fuck.
Exactly. Although I think everyone... There's this really funny part where, like, they're going through all of this, like, stuff that you do in space, and they're showing him her, like, little sleeping pod and stuff. And that one night, she wakes up because she's having a hard time adjusting to sleeping, just sort of floating in space. And she opens up her little pod door, and John Gallagher's character is literally just floating there like a zombie, but his eyes are open, and he sleeps with his eyes open. It's really creepy, and he's just sort of like floating and kind of slowly turning. But something happens, and she has this little panic attack, and there's this one little room that is like a kind of an open globe window where they can see Earth, and it's really beautiful. And so she goes up there to like calm down, and as she's up there, she sees something, and she's like, wait, is that a volcano exploding? And then another explosion happens, and pretty soon there's just like balls of fire moving.
Absolutely the fuck not. That's my worst nightmare.
And they're just like, all of a sudden there's like fire spreading over the part of the globe that they are floating above. And everyone starts like panicking. They can't seem to get in touch with NASA or the Russian.
What the fuck?
And then a message.
Sorry,
a message comes through. It's intense. And then a message comes through to Chris Messina's character saying there's been a war between Russia and the United States. You must take over the spaceship at all costs.
What the I'm gonna fucking throw up. That is just...
It is...
I would throw myself out of the ship. I'd be like, you know what? Nah, I'm good. We're good. Bye.
And then, so they're like, he's like trying to play calm, and he's looking at the Russians, and they're like, are you getting anything? And he's like, no, nothing at all. And then he's like, are you getting anything? And the Russians are like, no, nothing at all. But you know that there are probably messages going to them as well. And then it becomes like this kind of intense, paranoid standoff between the two of them, because they all of a sudden, these alliances and these friendships that have obviously been building over the course of however many trips up into space they've been doing are now fraught, as they're worried about their loved ones down, and they can't get in touch with anyone at NASA or the Russian side of things. And so they don't know what if their loved ones are okay. They don't know what's going on down there, and they just have their marching orders to take the station at all cost. And it is intense.
You fucking... You think? God, I have a stomachache just thinking about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really well done. It's directed by Gabriella Cowperthwaite. That's a name. But she is the director of, weirdly enough, she was the director of Blackfish, that documentary about SeaWorld and orcas.
Like, what?
Weird.
Okay.
Yeah. But
range, I suppose.
I think the production design in this is really good. The score is really good. The acting is really good. There's a couple moments in the script that I was like, that seems a little far-fetched. But overall, this is a really tight, claustrophobic, paranoid thriller in space. And I was blown away by it. I really, really enjoyed this one. I want to see it in the movie theater. I think it'd be amazing.
Like, I never saw Gravity because that shit makes me so anxious. Like, space scares me. And so I just don't want to experience that. And that sounds like a lot of things. Is it so it looks good? Like, is it like a lot of CGI, or do they kind of like how do they? I'm curious about like the graphics and stuff.
The one area, and I'm not 100% sure. I think what we got was a working cut. I think my screener was a working cut.
Okay.
Because there was, and I say that because I was like, ooh, some of this looks really good, and some of it doesn't look the best. But then there's a moment where a green screen is being reflected on a person's lip, and I'm like, okay. And there's a couple scenes toward the end that aren't color corrected, so I'm like, okay, this is probably going to be fixed. Or it has been fixed since it premiered at Tribeca, because I don't know at what point they just sent the screeners out, and maybe it's not. So I think that the effects that started out in the film are great. Some of the effects towards the end are a little iffy, but I honestly think it's just because they were stand-in things and they're trying to color correct and fix things. So I think once it comes out, it's going to look really good, because there are some really stunning sequences early on in the film that I was like, this looks really good and expensive. So
cool.
I do think it'll be good.
Hell yeah.
So that's that. Let's go in a completely different direction. I want to hear about this rape revenge story.
Okay, so this is like kind of a surprise for me. This was a movie that kind of slipped into my inbox called Pollen. It's released from Gravitas Ventures, and it is this really interesting. I was really interested in reading it. The plot synopsis, because it's about a young woman who's assaulted by a senior coworker, and how her dream job becomes a living nightmare as she tries to keep her career together as she's tormented at work and at home and in her dreams by a mysterious tree monster. So it's like molding rape revenge stuff with trees. And I was like, okay, this has piqued my curiosity. This sounds like something Mary Beth McAndrews might quite like. And so I ended up checking it out, especially I talked a little bit to the director, and, you know, he's talking about how, like, the main character's name is Hera, and a lot of this is inspired by Greek mythology and Greek tragedy. And so that was really interesting. And so this film it's definitely low budget, but the tree monster is quite good. There's like a man in a tree suit. It's all practical. So it looks really good. And it basically follows a young woman gets her dream job, is like trying to fit in, and she basically goes on a date with her hot older coworker. He wants to come home with her at night. She says, "No, please don't come in." He shoves his way in and assaults her. But she doesn't see it as assault at first. And so that's really interesting because it plays with these nuances of like power dynamics and sexual relationships in a way that is like pretty impressive. And then it also becomes about how she doesn't fit in the office, about how hard it is to be a woman in the workplace. And it melds all of these like really interesting themes together, while also kind of having Hera kind of lose her mind and kind of not know how to handle like everything going on around her. And I was really impressed with it. I mean, like it's low budget, and like some of the story doesn't like fully connect. But I was really impressed by the lead. Her name's Ava Rose Kennard, who plays Hera, and she's really, really talented. And I just like it's a movie that I don't think anyone's going to watch because it's like one of those really tiny, like micro budget indie movies that I feel like kind of get thrown on demand, and like there's like one press release and no one ever talks about it. But this is one that I think deserves some love and some eyeballs. I think there's a really good vision here, and I think there's some really awesome ideas, and they were able to pull something off that was really, really impressive, especially with the budget. And it's directed by a man, but it's really sensitive to I know I'm really focused on like female directed rape revenge movies, but this one was one of the more like careful male directed rape revenge movies I've ever seen, and was really kind of fascinated with how he frames the assault. And again, like I'm always fascinated with how that's handled in these films. And I just was like super impressed with it. I don't know what else to like. It sounds like I'm repeating myself, but like I don't want to give anything away because it's quite shocking, and it's just like a really interesting take on like creature melding genres together to create something really kind of sad and fascinating. So yeah, that's Pollen. It's out now. You can rent it or buy it on digital. So, yeah, I mean, give it a chance. It might not be everyone's taste, but I think it's a pretty cool piece of micro-budget indie horror filmmaking and getting at some really interesting stuff in a really cool, unique, and nuanced way.
And you said the tree monster looks pretty cool?
I think, yeah, the tree monster is like a suit. There's like a dude in it, and it looks creepy. And there's some really creepy imagery throughout. So I think, yeah, it looks really good. They definitely it looks like they put a lot of budget into making sure the monster looked good, because it is like a pretty easy concept, except for the monster, to like have this horror stuff around. So yeah, a lot of the budget goes into making that monster actually look like a monster and not some weird CGI creature, which I think really makes it feel as impactful as it does. They could have gone cheesy really quickly, and I was very worried about that, but it's not. It's actually, again, like, it's pretty, like, you know, the monster is her rage, etc., but still.
Right.
It's still good.
I think that's interesting, kind of mirroring a very, like, human rape revenge story with, like, more monstrous type creature type thing.
Yeah.
That's weird. I don't think you see that very often.
We don't, and that's actually something I was thinking about while watching it, is that, like, I want more of that, and I think because, like, rape revenge is such a... like, has previously been such an exploitative subgenre that, like, having the woman be raped was kind of like, you didn't need a monster. It was just, but then I feel like now, as things have kind of shifted, I think there could be some really interesting stuff to do with that. And I think Resurrection did that a little bit, that Rebecca Hall movie, but there's just so, like, and Pollen is really hitting in a spot that I think needs to be explored more. What? Okay, that's the weirdest semi-true crime story. Tell me more about this.
This is another Tribeca film
Okay.
called He Went That Way. And
Okay.
it's based on a book by Conrad Hilberry. And the book is called Luke Karamazov and the real life account from... And it's a real life account. All right.
What?
It's a real life
What?
account about animal trainer Dave Pitts, who is the sole survivor of serial killer Larry Raines' killing spree.
What the fuck are you talking? What are you watching? Okay, cool.
So, yeah, so it's based on that, but the character names are different. So this has Jacob Elordi, who we all know.
Sexy can
I love him. I wish he were to play. I wish he was playing less horrible people in movies.
Oh,
because,
is he the serial killer?
yes.
Oh,
And he plays a character named Bobby, and he's like hitchhiking down Route 66 in 1964, I believe, and he has left a trail of bodies all down this path, and we follow a character named Jim, who is a celebrity animal trainer who his animal is that he takes care of is named Sparky, and he is it's a real animal, like a real life animal, celebrity animal named Sparky that was a chimpanzee. And so he is traveling down Route 66 with Sparky. You kind of don't really know where he's going. He says he's going to Chicago, and you don't really quite know why. And he is at this stop, and he sees Bobby standing out there like just a tall drink of water in his tight jeans, his white tank top, and like a jean jacket, smoking a cigarette, giving off like James Dean vibes. And he's just out there trying to get a ride, and two girls like stop by because he's incredibly attractive, but they're like, we're not gonna take you. And so he's out there, and Jim just like says, okay, do you want to ride? And there's this like undercurrent here of like homophobia, because Bobby asks him, are you a suck? He's like, I don't know what that means. He's like, a sick fuck, a suck. And there's a lot of things like there's moments where he talks about how like queers do that, or queers wear cologne. And so there's like a lot of like toxic masculinity going on with his character. Jim, of course, is played by Zachary Quinto, who is queer in real life. And it feels like Jim might be kind of queer. He's married to a woman, but you kind of get this vibe from him that he might be kind of attracted to Bobby. And as they're driving, Bobby pulls out a Derringer, which is he's used to like kill people this entire time, and basically threatens Jim's life. And what follows is this weird, almost found family moment between the two of them, where like the serial killer and him, who like is planning to kill Jim early on, starts to like become friends, and they have like this really weird sexual tension between the two of them that is never really explored. I'm going to throw this out there. It might be a spoiler, but I really wanted them to kiss, and they don't kiss, and I was really upset about this because
that's
there's
lame.
so much.
I also wanted them to kiss.
Me too. But there's like this intense chemistry and undercurrent of sexual tension between them the entire time. And it's basically just a road trip movie about Jim and his chimpanzee and this serial killer, which is based on a real story. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's weird. At the beginning I was like, this isn't really working for me, but there's like this sharp turn where it's focusing on their relationship so much more, and I was like, found myself really interested in what was going on between the two of them. I kind of wish that they would have consummated it. But yeah, it's interesting. Really well acted between Jacob and Zachary, and I just watched it last night because the screener came in and it was going to expire tomorrow, and I'm like, I guess I'm watching it tonight. So I'm still trying to process my thoughts on this one.
Okay.
But my only real qualm with it is that the monkey is played by someone in a monkey suit.
I can't. Get away from me. What?
Yeah, it's
What?
it's it's giving me
Wait.
like she is like I believe the person that's playing Spanky is Phoenix Notary, and I was trying to figure out who Phoenix Notary was, but then at the end of the credits it says that Phoenix Notary played Spanky and also this young girl that shows up briefly in one scene. And so it's played by a girl in a monkey suit, and that kind of gives me this weird, like, uncanny valley moment where I was like, I don't think that's CG, but I don't think that's a real monkey. And so I spent most of the movie going, is that a monkey? Is that someone in a suit? So it's giving me this weird vibe.
What
That was like
is
my only
this
real complaint
movie?
about it. Fucking weird.
What is this?
Fucking weird.
There are no pictures online of the monkey yet. Damn it.
No, there's not. No, there's not.
I need to know. I need a visual. Wow. Okay. I don't quite understand
it just was giving me so many weird vibes.
I don't quite understand the vibe that this is going for, but that's okay.
It's a lot of weird vibes that somehow coalesce into something very interesting and heartwarming.
All right.
Just
shit. Sure, I'll take your word for it. What
like
the fuck?
there's this really weird seduction scene where Bobby, Jacob Elordi's character, they take two girls to their hotel, and they just like talk because Bobby is like saying that he's going back to Michigan to meet his girl, and he starts talking. He wanted to talk to them about trying to win his girl back, and they fall asleep. And so Bobby and Jim are having this really deep-hearted conversation. He's like, well, maybe they would tell you that you need to be gentle more, because he flies off. He has like a really bad anger problem, and he's like, I can be gentle. And he goes over to the girl, and it's this kind of creepy, weird, like he's kissing her leg while she's asleep. And so it's this skeezy moment, but like he is doing it while staring deeply into Jim's eyes. And so it's like this really weird.
No,
it's a
that's
very
okay.
weird movie.
No, thank you.
It's just very weird, but it ends up being this kind of heartwarming story by the end, and I don't know what to think of it, and so I'm still literally parsing my thoughts on this live on air.
I'm gonna take your fucking word for it, because it sure as shit does not sound like it'd be heartwarming. So you know what? I'll take your word for it. Huh. All right.
Yeah, so he went that way. All right, I gotta know though, your weekend watches. I gotta hear. First of all, I gotta hear, what did you think of The Bear? How much of it did you watch?
Yeah. Okay.
There's so many.
There's so many questions because I went home this weekend. My mom got carpal tunnel surgery, which is like not very major. It's like very minor fucking surgery, but it was on her dominant hand because she had just gotten surgery on the other hand. So she is just like not able to use her hands right now, like at all. And that's, kind of difficult. So I went home for the weekend just to help out around the house and like hang out with her. And she loves to watch TV. She's a big TV person. So basically use it as an excuse to watch a bunch of TV and old movies and stuff. And that led to some hilarious hijinks ensued with this plan that we had. My mom was also on opioids, on tramadol, because she, again, had her hand slit open. So we watched the other two, and we watched 2 episodes of that. Very into it. I like it a lot. It is almost too cringy for me to watch, which is shocking. But holy shit, that show is deeply uncomfortable. But I'm very into it. So
you just once you get to like the second to last episode, I think it's episode 7, which is one long take in the restaurant while shit is happening. Oh,
marry me at recess.
Oh shit, the other 2. My bad. I was thinking The Bear.
Oh, I was like, bitch, what are you talking? I was like, what? Yes.
I'm
no.
currently losing it.
Yeah, this is the other 2. This is the comedy. The comedy show.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. That one is giving me major was very uncomfortable because like I love her, but she is diabolical, and I'm very excited to see what else this bitch gets up to because she sucks and I love her so much. So yeah, so that was the other 2. My mom does not really like it. I do. So I will be continuing to watch it. I showed my parents got them really into From.
Oh, okay.
They love Lost, so I was like, well, let's show them this. They were very into it. The Bear, finally started The Bear, loved it. I felt like I was going to have a fucking panic attack. I watched it with my mom and my grandmother, which was hilarious. My grandmother was like, I am going to throw up. What is this show? I'm very excited to keep watching it. Loved watching it with my chef parents who are like, it's just very funny. Like, anything with food with them is just very funny to watch.
So, I'm sorry, you watched how many episodes of The Bear?
Just one. Because my mom, we only watched one. So I have to keep watching. But my mom was like...
I was wondering, because there's like a brief, I think it's either a flashback or a dream, where the main character, I cannot remember the character's name.
Carmi.
It's a flashback to him, Carney, him working at a New York, like the fancy New York restaurant. And just like the like very precise things that he has to do with that. There's so much about that.
Yeah.
Just like...
Yeah. And my parents were really funny just about like respect in the kitchen and like them talking about respect in the kitchen. So that was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
So we watched that. And then my mom, this is my mom's fucking idea. My mom goes, have you ever heard of the movie Hereditary? And I was like...
Your mom brought it up?
Yes! It was my mother! She's like, have you heard of this movie Hereditary? And I was like, have I heard of the movie Hereditary? And she was like, sorry. And she goes, Tommy said I shouldn't watch it and that it was really scary, but I really want to watch it. Do you want to watch it with me tonight? And I was like, I sure do. So it ended up being a family affair. My mom, my stepdad, my brother and his girlfriend, and me, and the dog all watched it together. And I made the really, really intelligent decision of getting really high before that because I thought that it would be like really funny to watch my mom watch it, not remembering like my own trauma. So I did a lot of sitting on my phone, not looking at the screen and trying to pretend I didn't exist. My mom, when the head scene happens, my mom goes, Mary Beth McAndrews, what the fuck are you doing to me? She was like, you just picked this movie so you could show me that. And I was like, no, I did not. You wanted to watch it. And my brother goes, Mom, this isn't even the half of it yet. And my mom goes, what the fuck? And so at one point, my stepdad got up and went into the kitchen and didn't come back. He like could not handle it. He was making himself. He's made himself a snack and was like eating it in the kitchen and watching the movie, but like from the kitchen.
So it was a successful watch.
It was.
Like it? Well, hate like
my mom ended up not liking it because my mom was just like, why the fuck were they all naked? Like she just like doesn't get. I don't want to say doesn't get it. But, like, she does not buy into the artsy shit. And, like, the kind of, like, that horror. Like, it's not even, like, artsy. But, like, she just doesn't want any of that bullshit. She wants, like, straightforward. She's not, like, dealing with that. And so she was a little bit... She was like, that was too long. I was like, okay, Mom. I don't think she wanted the trauma meditation. I think she just wanted the end. Which, like, to her benefit, fair. But it was just... My stepdad was just like, that was too much. So that was what... Oh, and then we also watched The Silence of the Lambs again, because my mom had never watched it all the way through. And then my stepdad and I just quoted it the whole time. That movie still holds up. I know it's problematic, but it's also still really good. That is my truth. And then we also watched 13 Going on 30.
Wow. That's a gamut.
I let my mom run the show. This is what she did. Oh, and then I also introduced her to Vanderpump Rules.
Which I heard from Cass, my roommate, that the fourth part of the reunion was wild. Third part. My bad.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It's just, I'm getting a little bit bored of it now. It's been going on for too long. It's been 2 minutes. I'm just sick of these fucking people. They're not that important. You know what I mean? Like, I love it, but I say this as someone who loves it, but like the fact that everyone talks about it, I'm like, oh, this isn't fun ananymore. Like, just give me back my stupid junk food trash. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
When I heard that there was a three-part finale, I was like, are you kidding me?
Oh, the
reunion part is...
Okay. This is my favorite thing about... This is a tangent. I'm really sorry. But this is my favorite thing about watching all the Bravo stuff from, like, the beginning. And, like, I am not a bitch who will start at one season and like, not watch the early seasons. Like, I want the full chronology. Like, I want to know how deep the trauma goes. And so, you see when they first started and like what the reunions were like and how they built them to be these like 3-part events. They went from like these like super dinky little like we're sitting in like studio chairs talking to like these huge multi-part dramatic like situations, and it's fascinating to see what they have become. Anyway, that's me talking about the evolution of Bravo television. Also, all of the things I watched with my family this weekend. Yeah, it was a wild weekend, but it was nice because this leads into the next thing. I also read a book this weekend, like on a lark bought this book that we both read at the same time this weekend. Really weird.
Yeah, I was on TikTok and got into book talk at one point, and there was I don't remember what it was or what the like theme was, but they showed 3 books, and one of them was the new Cassandra Caw book, which I bought, and then another one.
I think I sent you. Is it TikTok about the aquatic horror books just to watch? Was it one
You
of the
did
ones
send
that
me
I
that.
sent that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, it was I just randomly stumbled upon
Different
it.
one. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Getting my
and it was
TikToks
like
mixed up.
it was Cassandra Caw's new book.
The Salt Grows Heavy.
And I was like,
I want to read that so
yes.
bad.
So I was like, ooh, I wanted to read that one. Let me add that to my list. And then there was this really striking cover of this book with a very interesting title of Our Wives Under the Sea. And I was like, ooh, is this aquatic horror? I'm very much into this. And so I went to read the synopsis and I was like, oh, it's queer. It's aquatic horror. I gotta get this, and so I bought it. And then when I shared this picture on Twitter, Mary Beth is like, "I'm reading Our Wives Under the Sea," and I'm like, "Fuck!" So am I at the same time.
So weird, but very good and
Unbeknownst.
serendipitous because that was because I've seen that recommended on TikTok a bunch as like a really good, heartbreaking, creepy, underwater deep sea book, and I was like, well, sign my ass up. And it's got like, and it's gay and it's about love. And so we both read it this weekend and we're both emotionally destroyed by perhaps one of the most beautiful books I've ever read.
The writing in this book is so beautiful. That's what like immediately pulled me in, was like Julia Armfield is the author, and her writing in this, I was just like, I was 20 pages in and I put the book down. I was like, what else has she written? And I had to go look her up because I was like, this is my new favorite obsession. Her writing is just so, it's like, as I was trying to explain it to someone, it's like the writing that I would read and get really excited about when I was an English major, but it's about a subject I'm very interested in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like combining this very artful poetic language with some really gnarly body horror, cosmic horror, aquatic horror, with like this heartbreaking love story.
Yeah.
Oh, it tore my heart out.
I know. And like, well, and I think something that she really captures is like what it means to actually be in love with somebody. Like in terms of like the minutia of love. And it got me in my fucking feelings about my fucking husband back there, and just like I'm getting a little bit emotional thinking about it, just like the things that you don't think about, but she puts them into these beautiful words about like the memories you have with each other, and like how there's like these passages about how she talks about how I'm not just seeing the world for me anymore, I'm also seeing it for her so I can recount my day to her and share. And I'm just like, fuck, that is like exactly it. But there's so much love in this book that is so sad. And it is about this like relationship that is like falling apart against both of their wishes. And it's just so beautiful and so sad. It's like this perfect example of how a good, creepy horror movie can also be so deeply emotionally affecting. And it's told from 2 perspectives, because it's Miri and Leia are the 2 women in the relationship, and we hear from both. Like the perspective chapters switch off between the 2 of them. So getting their perspectives on what is happening or what has happened and what is going on.
Yeah, and so Miri's is in the present, and they're wives, and Leah had gone down. She's a marine biologist. She went on the sub and with 2 other people, and the sub just, something goes wrong and the sub just starts sinking. The ballasts fill, and they aren't able to contact the people on the surface. everything seems to be working okay, but like the ship is just sinking and the power is out, and they just keep falling to the bottom of the ocean in this like where it's so dark. And so we have Leah kind of recounting her time down in the sub, and the kind of horrors that start to happen when people are stuck down there, as well as seeing her come back from Miri's perspective, and she's come back different. And she's turning on the taps of water. She's not eating. She's hiding in the bathroom with the sound machine. Everything must be salty. Like, she keeps adding salt to water and drinking it. And so we're seeing the kind of after effects while we're also sort of learning a little bit about what happened when Leah was down there. It is, yeah. It's just heartbreaking. And the ending, the last 20 pages, I was sitting there, like, trying to not bawl, and it got me at the end. It's beautiful. It's perfection. I really would like to get Julia on the podcast because I would like to really talk to her about aquatic horror because it's so good. And I really loved it. What a debut novel. Like,
I know. And she has a short story collection called Salt Slow that I have not read, but I'm immediately
purchasing. Ordered it.
Yeah, purchasing because I have to read it now because that book is so good. So I will be reading that next. Because good Lord! Well, that about does it for this week's Little Cuts. Terry, who are we talking to on Monday?
Oh my goodness. All right, we're chatting with filmmaker, producer, and the producer of Postmortem with McGarris podcast, Joe Russo. Not the Avengers Joe Russo. The horror one. The one we love. And he brought with him Predator.
He sure fucking did. He brought with him Predator. Finally got to talk about Predator. Really fun conversation about us, just about this weird ass fucking movie that is like kind of homoerotic and very, very 80s. It's a good time. And we also, before we talk about that though, Joe is a strike captain with WGA in LA. So he talks to us a little bit about what's going on with the strike and how you can support the writer's strike right now. So it's a really cool episode for all sorts of reasons. So that is on Monday. So please check it out. And yeah. And once again, Fresh Wounds episode is out. Check it out. Be a patron.
Yep.
Yay!
Be gay, do crime.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Very much that. Very much that. Fuck. You've heard from us. We want to hear from you. Did you watch anything that we watched this week? Did you read Our Wives Under the Sea? You can tell us your reactions, what you thought, by sending us an email at what is our email? Oh my god. scarredforlifepodcast@gmail.com. Or reach out to us directly on Twitter. I'm at MB McAndrews. Yeah, that's who I am. Shit.
The energy this episode is so all over the place. It's been a week and it's only fucking Tuesday. I am Gaily Dreadful, at Gaily Dreadful.
And don't forget to follow the podcast on Twitter, at Scarred Podcast.
Please don't forget to review, rate, and subscribe. Mary Beth told you about our new Fresh Wounds episode. So thank you to our patrons. And if you want to help support us, please go out there and get some fun content. Ew, I hate that I said content.
Content!
I gotta stop saying that word. I hate that word. I really hate that word. Anyway.
Thank you to Eric Barr for our artwork. Thank you to Sean Keller for our music. Thank you everyone for listening. Please stay safe out there. But most importantly, stay creepy.
Until next time.